Welcome everyone to the New York State Department of Public Services Winter Workshop. My name is Alex Carmen. Thanks everyone out there for spending part of your afternoon with us. We've prepared what we hope will be an enlightening and informative workshop, including 2 presentations. The first presentation will give you a broad overview of how utilities and customers can prepare for the winter season, including how to best manage winter heating bills. The second presentation will focus on a new law that protects residential customers from utility shutoffs during the COVID-19 pandemic. It's a very timely topic. We'll also leave plenty of time for Q&A after the presentations. Today's workshop is being recorded. A copy of the recording and the presentation slides should be posted to our website sometime after the meeting. We'll go over all those details later. But before we dive into the presentations, I want to give you some quick background on the Public Service Commission for folks not in the know. The commission is composed of 5 members appointed by the governor who regulate the state's electric, natural gas, steam, telecommunication, and water utilities, as well as oversee the cable television industry. And by regulate, I mean the commission ensures safe, secure, and reliable access to utility services at just and reasonable rates. Today, I have the pleasure of introducing Commissioner Diane Berman, who is joining today's workshop. Welcome, Commissioner. Would you like to say a few words?
Thank you so much. Sure. Thank you so much. I appreciate being on this workshop. I really am a listener today. I'm looking forward to the presentation and to the questions that may follow. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Commissioner. We appreciate you being here. Of course, the commissioners can't do it alone. The staff arm of the commission is called the Department of Public Service, and sometimes those commission and department are used interchangeably, but now you know the difference. Department staff are charged with carrying out the policy directives of the commission, and the department has a skilled staff, which includes engineers, accountants, attorneys, economists, and renewable energy specialists. Myself and my colleagues who will be presenting today work in the department's Office of Consumer Services, where we investigate complaints about utility service, represent ratepayer interest in utility rate cases, and produce outreach events like this, among other duties. So, without further ado, I'm going to hand it off to my colleague, Joseph White. Joe, take it away.
Thank you, Alex. Thanks for the introduction. Hello, everyone. My name is Joseph White. I work, as Alex said already, I work in the department's Office of Consumer Services. Each fall, OCS develops and implements an outreach campaign designed to educate consumers about preparing for the upcoming winter season. The goal of the program is to raise consumer awareness about resources available to them during the winter season. This workshop is to give a flavor of the messages and material available to share with your constituents. Department messages will focus on 1, expected bill impacts for this season, 2, options to manage winter bills through bill payment and financial assistance programs, and 3, simple, affordable measures consumers can take to reduce energy use and become more energy efficient, which may help to lower their bills. Number 4, resources available to assist consumers faced with heat-related energy emergencies. And 5, safety information regarding natural gas and electricity. And 6, storm preparation tips. Finally, and most importantly, consumer protections. Next slide, please. Now I will talk about our key messages in more detail. You will note that many of the slides we are using include graphics that are depicted on the department's publications. This provides additional information about each message or topic. All of these materials are available on the department's askpsc.com website. Next slide, please. So let's look at our winter energy outlook. New York's utilities have made arrangements to have enough natural gas and electric supply to satisfy expected consumers' demands for the upcoming 2020-21 heating season. In general, electric gas prices are expected to be higher on average than last year. For electric, the customer, while prices are expected to be higher than normal, they are generally in line with average prices over the past 5 years. And for gas, the increase is mostly due to last year's mild winter, which resulted in a reduction in consumer usage. Please take note that the price may vary depending on the service territory. Next slide, please. Let's talk about the consumer bill. Understanding your bill is the name of the slide. So let's take a moment to go over the basic customer bill layout. An energy bill includes two main charges, a delivery charge and a supply charge. So the delivery charge is the cost of bringing natural gas or electric into your home and using the utilities systems, and this includes the cost to maintain those systems. The delivery charge is regulated by the PSC. The other portion of the bill is the supply cost, which is the price of the actual gas or commodity. The commodity can be purchased from the utility company or an alternative provider, also called ESCO, ESCO. The supply price is determined in a competitive marketplace, and it's based on factors such as supply and demand, and it is not controlled by the PSC or utilities. One of the factors that can cause supply prices to fluctuate is weather. When there is a widespread or prolonged cold spell, overall demand for energy increases, which may increase prices and raise consumer energy bills. Winter heating bills can be some of the highest bills of the year, and a large part of our winter program and messaging focuses on ways that consumers can manage their energy costs. Next slide, please. There are three main bill management options that consumers can take advantage of, including bill payment options, financial assistance programs, energy efficiency measures. Next slide, please. This is our bill payment option screen, or slide, sorry about that. If a consumer is having a difficulty in paying their utility bills, they should contact the utility as soon as possible to discuss bill payment options, such as budget billing. Budget billing is a plan that provides equal monthly payments to help reduce fluctuations in customers' bill due to seasonal patterns of energy usage. For example, a budget plan may smooth out spikes that may occur for customers who are using more energy in the winter or in the summer. In addition, consumers may opt to enroll in this program because having a set amount to pay every month helps them plan their monthly budget better. All utility customers can participate in budget billing. There's no income variable involved. Deferred payment agreements. In addition to budget billing, utilities offer a way to pay overdue bills in reasonable installments over a period of time. This option is called DPA, Deferred Payment Agreement, may be available for consumers who have fallen behind on their bills and cannot pay in full. Because utility service is an essential service that should be accessible to all consumers, a critical piece of our winter outreach program is to raise awareness of the financial assistance programs that are available to income-eligible customers to help them manage their utility bills. I will now turn the presentation over to my colleague, Jill Wasser, who will talk more about this in detail. Go ahead, Jill.
Thank you so much, Joe. And again, welcome everyone, and thank you for joining us this afternoon. Joe covered some of the options of the various ways to pay your bill. Now I'll quickly go over some of the resources available to help you and your constituents pay them. Some of the examples of the programs available are government, community, and utility programs. Some of the government programs include HEAP, the Home Energy Assistance Program, and Lifeline, discount telephone service. I know many of you are very familiar with some of these programs, so I'm just going to review them briefly. HEAP, Home Energy Assistance Program, has three types of benefits: a regular benefit, an emergency benefit, and Heat and Tune, which is a program for cleaning and tuning and repairing heating systems. You can learn more about these programs on the My Benefits or HEAP website, or by contacting your local Department of Social Services. Lifeline is a program for income-eligible consumers. 2A, ensure that they can afford a telephone, as we know how important a telephone is, especially these days, and to help them save money on their phone bills. Also, some excellent community-based service programs include organizations that we may know very well, the American Red Cross and the United Way, that provide some excellent financial and counseling programs. Also, utility-sponsored programs. They provide payment assistance, discounts on the monthly electric or gas bill, and a variety of other benefits depending on the nature of the program. Some of those programs you might be aware of, like Project Warmth in PSEG Long Island and Project Fair in NYSEG. I encourage you and your clients to reach out to the utilities to learn more about their programs, and information on them is available on their websites by contacting the utilities, and all the information about all the programs that I just talked about are also available on our website, askpsc.com. Next slide, please. With regard to heat-related emergencies, this is winter, that happens. Just a few things I'd like to highlight. First of all, if you have a client or constituent or know someone who is threatened with an electric or gas shutoff, or their service has been terminated, residential customers can call our hotline. The number is on the slide, and it is available Monday through Friday, 7:30 in the morning to 7:30 in the evening. There is also, as I alluded to before, the HEAP emergency benefit, the New York State Temporary and Disability Assistance, long name, sorry, or NYS-OTDA, the acronym, maintains a 24-hour emergency contacts in every county in the state. And there are also several emergency service providers that can help find shelter and food. Also, if there is a life-threatening emergency, certainly call 911. Next slide. Energy efficiency, one of my favorite topics. Always a good thing year-round, especially in the winter when costs can be their highest. Always a good thing, save energy, save money. The triple play, I call it, save energy, save money, save precious resources. The brochure pictured on the slide, our household electricity use, has some terrific tips about using commonly owned electronics and appliances more efficiently and cost effectively, and mentions many energy efficiency and rebate programs that are offered by several of our partner agencies and state utilities. Some of those agencies include NYSERDA, the New York State Energy Research and Development Authority, and New York State Housing and Community Renewal. In addition, the utilities have some excellent programs. Links for those programs are also available on our website, askpsc.com, our winter preparedness page. In addition, in this time of COVID, many of these programs are offering remote services such as home energy assessments, again, to minimize in-person activity. Once again, more information is available on our website and the utilities as well. Next slide. Service interruptions and safety information, always important. Always, with the fury of these storms today, always helps to be prepared. Just a few things I'd like to highlight. Number one, in terms of service interruptions, very important. I encourage you and your clients to take advantage of any utility notification programs that are offered, such as email blasts, text messages, and with that, make sure that your contact information is up to date so that they can reach out to you if they have to. And with regards to safety tips, as we tell the kids, safety first. Again, some great some great information to stay safe during outages and weather events, such as checking your appliances and generators, as many of us use now, and also, be aware of gas leaks and down power lines. Next slide. Consumer rights and protections, as I refer to it, the bane of our existence. The HEFPA, the Home Energy Fair Practices Act, is our raison d'etre, or the Utility Consumers Bill of Rights, that covers every area of energy service that you could think of, such as applications, terminations, special protections. There are two that I will focus on today. First of all, cold weather rules. Today is cold. There are special protections that are in effect from November 1st to April 15th, which specifically are related to service terminations, that the utility cannot terminate service if there is going to be a concern regarding health or safety. And they must make extra effort to work with the consumer to keep the service going and to make whatever payment arrangements if they have to. In addition, special protections for those consumers who are elderly, blind, and disabled, also those who have medical hardships or might use life support equipment that requires electricity. I can't stress enough that it is extremely important, if you have clients with those issues, to contact the utility and enroll in whatever special programs are offered, so that they are able to code their account as medical hardship or life support equipment. We call it LSE. And this requires the utility to take special steps prior to terminating service, if that's the case, payment arrangements. Also a priority in the case of a severe storm and anticipated outages. They must notify the customer to ensure that they are safe and can make whatever arrangements they have to stay safe during the storm and if there is going to be an outage. Next slide. Complaint procedure, again, a very major part of what we do in our Office of Consumer Services and major part of HEFPA. Again, customers have the right, this gives the customers the right to file a complaint about the utility service. I cannot stress enough, if you or one of your clients does have a complaint with the utility, to contact them, work with them as best you can to resolve the issue. If you cannot, and it could just be that there are more questions, the issue sometimes takes another set of eyes to resolve, or in the case of you're trying to make a payment arrangement, if one of your clients is in arrears, sometimes we can help to come to an affordable amount that can work for everyone. So in that case, I contact the department. We take complaints via the internet, or toll-free line, and in person. Evidently now during this COVID-19 pandemic, we are strongly encouraging consumers to file complaints online via the internet using our online form or a toll-free telephone line, which the numbers are listed in the brochure pictured on the slide and on the slide. And in that regard, in light of the pandemic, also additional protections have been put into place for utility consumers. So I'll now turn the presentation over to my colleagues, Alex Carmen and Alicia Sullivan, to give you more details about those. Again, thank you.
Thank you, Jill. Good morning. Good afternoon, everyone. This is Alicia Sullivan. I'm the Deputy Counsel at the Department of Public Service. First, I'd like to just thank Alex, Erin, Jill, Joe, and Anna, who's our great team at the Office of Consumer Services, for putting this presentation together and for inviting me to be a part of it. I welcome to all the community and civic organizations and leaders that are joining us today. This next part of the presentation contains information on the COVID-19 utility moratorium legislation. The utility moratorium is both unique and timely because while many states have offered protections to their residents, New York was the only state to pass a utility moratorium as a legislative mandate. This legislation addresses the continuing hardships faced by utility customers due to the COVID pandemic and offers protections to mitigate the impacts from this unprecedented economic crisis. Next slide.
Thank you, Alicia. So before we go into talking about the shutoff moratorium law, it's important to understand the context in which the law was created. So COVID has obviously had a broad impact on public health in the United States. There have been over 22 million diagnosed COVID cases and more than 376,000 deaths. And as you know, probably the number is well above 400,000 now. That's just been in the last couple of weeks since we put this presentation together. So that's quite sobering numbers. In New York State, there have been over 1 million diagnosed COVID cases and about 40,000 deaths. Of course, many of those were early on in March, April, and May. COVID has impacted the economy as well, notably employment. So you see there year-over-year unemployment statistics for a few select metro areas in New York State. So 2019, the economy was going along pretty well. And then when COVID hit, the economy took a nosedive. You saw unemployment rates well above 10% and even above 20% in New York City. Those are numbers not seen since the Great Depression. Fortunately, those numbers have come down a bit, but they're still quite high, and there are still many people impacted economically by COVID. The economic impacts have been most concentrated in the low-wage service sector. So, for instance, New York State lost about 300,000 accommodation and food service jobs between February and September of last year. That's more than a third of all those jobs in the state, and of course, accommodation and food service jobs often don't pay very well. This has led to a housing crisis where many folks are facing evictions and foreclosures. Fortunately, that's temporarily stayed, but of course, there's still a crisis there. COVID has also impacted utilities. So, for instance, for the most recent data available for November 2020, approximately 13% of residential customers had arrears greater than 60 days, and that's a common metric we use to measure customers in arrears. The year-over-year numbers, you see the number of customers in arrears more than 60 days is up 16%, and the amount of the arrears is up significantly more, up 37%. So that reflects the fact that people who can't pay are just have not been able to pay during the COVID economic crisis. Next slide, please.
So the first response to this crisis was for the governor to declare a state of emergency on March 7th, 2020 through an executive order. And the Executive Order 202 declared that New York State was facing a disaster emergency for which the affected local governments were unable to respond adequately. The effective date of the executive order has been extended numerous times, and it is currently set to expire on January 29th, 2021. Due to the state of emergency declaration, the department, using its existing administrative authority, negotiated a voluntary moratorium with the regulated gas and electric utilities. After March 13th of 2020, no utilities were allowed to disconnect for non-payment, and all residential collection practices were suspended. Next slide. At the federal level, the Federal Communications Commission instituted a voluntary Keep America Connected pledge. This was announced in March of 2020, and this pledge ensured that Americans did not lose their telephone or internet service as a result of the pandemic. More than 800 companies and associations signed the pledge, which provided no termination to residential or small business customers because of their inability to pay. The FCC pledge also waived any late fees incurred during the economic circumstances of the pandemic. And lastly, the FCC opened up Wi-Fi hotspots to any American who needed them. Next slide. So in May of 2020, the New York State Legislature convened to address this pandemic. The Assembly and the Senate both passed, and the governor signed the utility moratorium bill on June 17, 2020. The moratorium law has two distinct sections. First, it provides that during a declared state of emergency, there can be no shutoffs for non-payments for utility bills. That is the period of time we are in right now. And for a period of 180 days after the state of emergency is lifted or expires, there were additional protections from shutoff available. This law amends the public service law in four main areas. It applies to electric, gas, water, and telephone providers. For residential consumers, it prohibits disconnection for non-payments during the state of emergency. This law does not apply to internet service or wireless telephone service providers or to commercial customers. Next slide. The law applies to both private and public water providers. And in New York, most consumers receive their water from a public provider, a public municipality, 96%, and approximately 4% from private water providers. This law also provides that the utilities and municipalities will be allowed to recover their deferred revenue through the regular means, and in the gas and electric world, that means a rate case. And now through January 29, 2021, there's no terminations for non-payment. 180 days after the state of emergency expires, or until March 31st, 2021, that is the date that the law expires, there can be no disconnections for arrears owed, or if someone had defaulted on a deferred payment agreement, when such customer has experienced a change of financial circumstances due to COVID state of emergency as defined by the department. And Alex will speak more about the department guidance in a few slides. The other provisions of the law include that if someone is disconnected, the utilities and municipalities are required to reconnect them within 48 hours. The deferred payment agreements must be offered with no money down and no application of late fees or penalties. The utilities are required to notify customers of this new law and the protections available. And the law, again, does expire at the end of March 2021. Next slide.
All right, as my colleague Alicia said, the bill passed by the legislature and signed by the governor directed the department to define what constitutes a change in financial circumstances due to the COVID state of emergency. So on August 11, 2020, the secretaries of the commission issued guidance to utility providers. If you want to review that guidance, you can check out our website, www.dps.ny.gov, click search, and then enter the case number 20-01676. That'll bring up all of the filings in the docket as well as all the guidance issued by the secretary since August. The department's guidance directs that utilities may require affirmative customer contact before the additional protections apply. Again, so there's two periods to the moratorium, the one we're in now where the state of emergency is in effect, where there's a blanket prohibition on utilities disconnecting residential customers, and the period after the state of emergency is lifted or expired, when utilities can require customers to contact them to ask for these additional protections. The purpose of this requiring an affirmative customer contact is to promote customer engagement. Utility companies, large or small, want to work with their customers, work out affordable payment agreements, and just make sure that the customer is in contact, is responsive to the utility and is trying to pay their bills. You know, we have large investor-owned utilities that have broad marketing schemes. They're working radio ads, online ads, targeting customers based on their financial circumstances. And you also have small municipal electric companies where staff are going door to door to talk to the neighbors and make sure that folks can pay their bill and know that assistance is available. All right, the department's guidance directs that utility providers shall accept their residential customers' self-certification that the customer has experienced a change in financial circumstances. So a customer who's been financially impacted by COVID doesn't need to offer anything about their financial information, right, like a pay stub or a tax return or anything like that to obtain these protections. all they need to do is contact their utility and self-certify that they were financially impacted by COVID. Utility is then obligated to record the self-certification in its business records, and there's some language that must be included in the self-certification. Next slide, please. So the department's guidance and the law passed by the legislature directs that utilities shall offer a deferred payment agreement to customers. And like my colleague Joe was saying before, a deferred payment agreement is an installment payment agreement that allows you to pay down your arrears in payments that are aligned to your ability to pay. Customers are not required to enter into a deferred payment agreement for these additional 180-day protections. However, the deferred payment agreements being offered now are the most advantageous. They don't include a down payment, late fees, or penalties. So in the pre-COVID times, you might be a customer with arrears might be obligated to or asked to make a down payment before they enter into a DPA. But now those DPAs are 0 down, 0%. For DPAs, unlike the self-certification, the utility may require the customer complete a financial statement and provide supporting documentation. Again, the self-certification, all you need to do is notify the utility provider, but for a deferred payment agreement, a customer may need to offer some financial information, and that just allows the utility to structure the installment payments so they're affordable to the customer. Utilities cannot require any precondition on the disconnection protections, so utilities cannot mandate that a customer apply to or receive a HEAP benefit. HEAP is the Low-Income Home Energy Assistance Program. It's a grant program that helps customers pay down their winter heating bills. Utilities are still sending disconnection notices right now. So that's a requirement for HEAP eligibility. By law, customers need that disconnection notice to become eligible for HEAP. So utilities are still sending disconnection notices. What you may find if you see one is that it says in bold letters on top, this is a disconnection notice, and then right beneath it, it'll say your service will not be disconnected. So a little, difficult, but nonetheless, it's still necessary for utilities to send disconnection notices. Next slide, please. The department's guidance directs that utility providers were required to make a compliance filing back in August, and that's all on the docket. The compliance filing includes the utility company's implementation plans and their customer notice, their outreach plan, how they're going to notify customers about these protections. And then regulated utility providers must also file a final report within 30 days of the expiration of the law. So that's after March 31st, 2021. That report will include the number of affected households that have availed themselves of these protections, the number of deferred payment agreements offered while these protections were in place, and the number of residential customers who were disconnected for non-payment, if any, during the COVID period. Next slide, please.
Thanks, Alex. And just to summarize what we've gone over regarding the COVID shutoff moratorium, it applies only to residential customers. It covers electric, gas, steam, landline, telephone, and water providers. It prohibits shutoffs for non-payment during the state of emergency, which is right now and in effect through January 29, 2021. After the state of emergency is lifted, residential customers must self-certify a change in financial circumstances. The utility providers must offer the customers a DPA with no money down, no late fees, and no penalties. There may be similar voluntary protections available to commercial customers, and the best way to find that out is to check with your specific utility. The shutoff law does expire March 31st, 2021, and more information on this can be found on our agency website, the www.dps.ny.gov. The docket for this case, again, the number is there, 20-01676. And if anyone's interested in following up on any updates as to the law or the extensions of the state of emergencies, they can go into our website and join the listserv so that you'll get updates on this moratorium. There's also askpsc.com, which has the COVID moratorium information on it, and there's a frequently asked question sheet there in 6 different languages. And there's also a utility moratorium email box if individuals have specific questions, or if the providers have specific questions, they can send an email to utility.moratorium@dps.ny.gov. Thank you.
Alex?
All right, so that,
Go.
Thanks, Joe. All right, so that concludes our 2 presentations today. We hope you found them informative and enlightening. We have about 20 minutes now for questions and answers. And I'll just explain to you how you can ask a question. So if you're logged into the web presentation, just go to the bottom right-hand corner of your page. There's a little hand icon. Click the hand icon, and we'll see that you've raised your hand, and we'll open the lines to you. If you're on the telephone, you push *3 on your phone, and that will virtually raise your hand. But before we get into the questions and answers, I just wanted to give Commissioner Berman one more chance if she wants to say anything. Commissioner Berman?
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. It was a really helpful presentation, and I look forward to the questions. Thanks.
Thank you, Commissioner. All right, looks like we already have one question. So, Joe, you want to open the line to Mr. Jackson?
Go ahead, Mr. Jackson.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Edwin Jackson with the Buffalo Urban League in Buffalo, New York, and we have a radio show podcast sort of thing. Who can we contact at PSC if we'd like to have someone come on the show and just to kind of talk about these things for the general public?
So, Mr. Jackson, we'll have, it's right up there on the screen now. You can reach out to us. I would suggest you reach out to us by email at that email address, and we can try to connect you with someone who can speak or participate in the podcast.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right, again, if you have a question, just if you're on the web view, just go to the bottom right-hand corner of your page, click on the little hand icon, or if you're on the phone, click *3. All right, looks like we have another question.
Okay. Go ahead, you're unmuted. You should have heard a beep on your line. Call-in user, you're unmuted. Did you hear a beep on your line?
I did not.
Oh, I apologize. Go ahead.
I have a client who is, my name is Nancy, and I work out of the Canton Woods Senior Center. I'm the neighborhood advisor. So I have this lady who is homebound. I really think she needs heat. She tells me she's behind on her utility bill, but I can't be making home calls right now because of COVID. If she calls the utility, would somebody be able to get her through the HEAP application on the phone? She doesn't have computer access.
I can take that one. This is Alicia. If you're looking to assist this woman to apply HEAP, the best thing is to go through either the Office for the Aging or the local Department of Social Services. What county are you in?
Onondaga, but like I said, I would normally, under other circumstances, go to her home and help her make out the application, copy her documentation, and then send it in. But I can't be making house calls right now because of COVID.
Right.
So how can I plug her into that?
Yeah, they may be able to do it on the phone given the circumstances of COVID. There are a lot of things that obviously in-person applications are on hold because of that.
Okay.
But the Office of the Aging might be able to help you because they are the alternate certifiers to do HEAP applications through Onondaga County.
Okay.
If you want to give us an email as well with your information, I can follow up with you specifically. Maybe I can help you a little more. So if you send us an email at the consumer email address, are you on the phone so you can't see our email?
I'm on the phone, yes.
Okay.
I also missed the phone numbers that she said that I think it was Joanna or someone said was on
on the screen, but I didn't see them, so.
Yep, we can give you that information right now. Can we go back on the slide, Jill, and those numbers maybe? We can give you those numbers now.
Hi, it's Joe, that's the host today. The consumer.outreach, is that the one you're asking for, the email address, Alicia?
Yep, and the HEAP information as well. And if we have an 800 number there too.
Okay, thank you. So the helpline, our helpline is 1-800-342-3377. That's the helpline to our call center. But the email address,
I'm sorry, that was a little
sure,
fast.
I apologize. 1-800.
Yes.
342-3377.
Okay,
But
I got it.
the email Alicia was referring to is consumer.outreach hyphen li at dps.ny.gov.
Okay.
Okay, and Alicia said you can send an email to that email address, and she'll assist you further. Okay, appreciate
okay,
it.
Thank you so much.
Very nice to talk to you. You take care. Thank you for your good work.
Thanks.
We have another caller. Shall I unmute them, Alex?
Please.
Okay, go ahead, Ms. Walsh. You're unmuted, Virginia Walsh. Go ahead. Can you hear us? You might be muted on your end.
Hi, is that better? Can you guys hear me?
We can hear you. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry about that. Hi, I was just saying I'm Virginia. I'm from Long Island. And first of all, thank you guys for coming down to the island. It's great to have your office down here the past couple of years. My question is about the internet protection. I know that it's not covered by the program and by DPS, but you mentioned something about hotspots, like for the kids who need the internet for school. A lot of parents are reluctant to have the kids sit in the library, for example, for extended periods of time. Do you have any information about where I could find those local hotspots for our parents?
So I can try to take this one. I'm not sure about where the open hotspots are now. The hotspots that my colleague Alicia was referring to were opened up as part of the FCC's Keep America Connected pledge, and that expired in June. So I don't know that internet providers are offering them anymore. They may still be, but I just don't know.
Okay,
I do know that
some
broadband providers are offering deeply discounted service for folks who have children at home who are doing remote learning. I've seen, $15 a month for those services if people can afford that. That's about as affordable as you're going to get for broadband service at home. And you should just reach out to your local ISP if you have one and ask them if they have an affordable plan for folks who need it for remote learning.
Sure. And I'm sorry, I know it sounds dumb, but what was that last set of letters? What did that stand for? The I something something?
ISP, Internet Service Provider.
Thank you very much.
I think I've seen Altice Optimum, which covers a lot of Long Island. I think has a $15 a month plan, but do double check with them.
Thank you.
Thanks. Alicia, this is Alicia. The other thing you might want to check with, I'm in Schoharie County, upstate, but our school offers free Wi-Fi hotspots during this time to make sure that kids can be connected. So a lot of the schools are getting private money to be able to provide laptops and notebooks and Wi-Fi hotspots. So you might want to check with the school districts as well.
Thank you very much.
Okay, I think that the hand that is currently up is from before. So if you are a call-in user, if you hit *3, your hand will go down. If you want to speak, and you're a call-in user and you hit *3, your hand will go up and we can call on you. Thank you.
So I mentioned earlier, we hope to make available the presentation slides and a copy of the recording of today's presentation. If and when those are made available, they'll be posted to our website, www.askpsc.com. Again, that's www.askpsc.com. Right now, the first two entries on that website are all the information that was contained in the first presentation, including links to those brochures, and a link to the more information about the COVID utility shut-off moratorium, including that frequently asked questions in 6 languages. So again, go to www.askpsc.com, and we hope to post the presentation slides and recording there in a few days.
Alex, is it okay if I just unmute this caller? I do believe they already spoke. I just want to make sure that they don't have something additional to say.
Sure, go ahead.
Okay, if you have your hand raised and you're waiting to speak, you can go ahead and speak.
No, I'm sorry. Just couldn't figure out how to get the hand down.
Oh, you just hit
Thank
star,
you.
*3, and your
Okay.
hand will lower. Yeah, thank you. Don't see any more questions at this time.
All right, we'll wait a couple more minutes. We'll leave the lines open, but again, all this information will be up on www.askpsc.com. If you have a question and you're on the web view, go to the bottom right-hand corner, click the little hand icon, and if you're on the telephone, hit *3.
I think we have, is this someone new? I'm going to try this person here. Hello.
No, I'm not new.
Oh, okay. If you hit *3, your hand will go down.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. Okay, Alex.
All right, last call for questions. Again, click the little hand icon on the bottom right-hand corner of your screen or *3. We'll give it 1 more minute. All right, so I don't see any more questions, so we'll wrap up today's presentation. Again, the slides and the recording should be posted to that to our website, www.askpsc.com, hopefully in the next few days. And thank you for participating today. Have a great day.
Thank you, everybody. Have a great day.
Thank you.